ordinary Americans were going through, economically speaking, maybe he would be a little more sympathetic toward the electorate in voting against the Biden-Harris, administration in this 2024 presidential election. And now all of a sudden, he's totally pretending like he didn't say that. And after Kamala Harris loses the election, he has the audacity to pretend like no one else was talking about all of these critiques. Well, you shut your mouth about the criticism and you be a good cheerleader for the Democratic Party. Otherwise, we want to see anything from you. That's what he was saying before the election and now after the election, the Monday morning quarterbacking, right? All of a sudden, he's an expert on all the things that have gone wrong in Kamala Harris's campaign.
Just now, Joe Scarborough was destroyed, and the hit was delivered by Anna Kasparian. She didn't tiptoe. She attacked MSNBC and Scarborough for their obvious economic reversal. Total disaster under Trump. Please, everything is suddenly ideal under Biden. Anna didn't think twice before burning the double standards. There was no assault. It was destroyed. The kind that leaves burn marks. The legitimacy of MSNBC is at risk. And Anna just hit a match. Keep checking back because this level of media takedown is just getting begun.
$7?
Yeah.
What?
Some
Is
places.
it framed in gold?
No, Joe, it's not framed in gold. Butter is $7 because it turns out inflation is real. And had he been aware of that, had he actually understood what ordinary Americans were going through, economically speaking, maybe he would be a little more sympathetic toward the electorate in voting against the Biden-Harris, administration in this 2024 presidential election. So anyway, this was on today's installment of Morning Joe. Obviously, Joe Scarborough looked absolutely stunned to find out that inflation has drastically increased the price of groceries, officially making him the last person in America.
Joe Scarborough became the last person in America and looked utterly shocked when he discovered that inflation had caused the price of things to soar. Whoa. The economy is now a problem for Joe Scar-Addy. Since Trump's inauguration, Scarborough has been in perpetual breakdown mode. All of a sudden, every food expense becomes problematic. Inflation is destroying the world, and petrol costs are at an all-time high. The fact that he remained mute under Biden's leadership and dismissed the same worries about a party supporter's patriotism is amusing. In addition to his complaints, he is now attacking Trump supporters. Like, they're to blame for his story's inconsistency with reality. Anna Kasparian was not amenable to it. She lit Scarborough on fire for his sudden rage after calling him the last to recognize that the economy is in tatters. But before we go into her vicious takedown, here's the footage that revealed this.
Donald Trump did better in New York and areas around New York. That probably contributed a good deal to it. I want to talk about economy for a second. A few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, somebody who was going to be voting for Kamala Harris came up to me and said, "Oh my God, Trump's going to win." I go, "Why is that?" He goes, I went to the grocery store. Butter's over $3. I kind of laughed and I said, "Well, that's kind of reductive, isn't it?" Said it to myself. To him, I smiled and I said, "Good point." But it actually, everything we're hearing after the election is,
I'm just saying.
is
$7.
What's that?
$7.
What's that? Butter is $7?
Yeah.
What?
Some
Is
places.
it framed in gold?
Yeah, what kind of butter?
Anyway, you might have missed it. On the other hand, Joe Scarborough lately acted as though he had recently discovered about inflation. The first time it was spoken in his ear, he nearly fainted. Wait a minute, inflation? Anna Kasparian left immediately thereafter. Because inflation did not suddenly appear when Trump took office again. Under Biden, it soared, hitting 9.1% in June 2022, its lowest level in almost 40 years. But Scarborough didn't even blink an eye. No rage or terror, just soft spin and excuses. Acting as if Trump's suitcases from Mar-a-Lago arrived with inflation, he is currently in full freak-out mode. Anna Kasparian uncovered the incident and reprimanded him for it. Watch as she skillfully cuts through the false standards and delivers Joe a dose of reality. Do too.
It's like everything we're hearing after the election about inflation. How are you just now finding out about inflation? How? How is that possible? Honestly, I don't think I believe him. I don't believe him. Inflation has been a big topic for a few years now. And he's going to pretend like they didn't know about how serious inflation is until after the election. Is it possible that the inflation story was a little inconvenient for what Morning Joe does literally every morning, Monday through Friday on MSNBC, which is serve as operatives for the Democratic Party? And that would require them to pretend like inflation isn't really that big of a deal.
MSNBC's bogus standards are choking what's left of honest journalism. Under Biden, economic suffering was either short-term or more complex. Under Trump, there is a national emergency. The cost of petrol was a global issue at the time. For them, Trump is being held personally liable. Everyone can see the spin. They're tired of being treated as if they can't remember the last year. The movement for a total collapse of the media is also being led by Joe Scarborough. But here's the twist. Anna Kasparian confronts him and gives him an opportunity to change his life. See how she breaks through the noise and exposes the truth Scarborough refuses to accept.
Scarborough has chastised Democrats for focusing too much on Trump bad, stated that they should have focused on illegal immigration, and also criticized their focus on identity politics, things that, maybe he should have been open and honest about before the election took place, instead of gaslighting the American people on behalf of a failing campaign.
I'll then play the full video of Joe Scarborough claiming that Democrats' obsession with woke politics and unchecked immigration are to blame for their catastrophic electoral loss. To be honest, I'm shocked. So, knowing that the left was falling off a cliff, Joe said nothing as he saw the Biden-Harris train accident unfold in real time, clapping as though nothing had occurred. He then has the gall to appear astonished when he is called a hypocrite. Either way, this is where Scarborough breaks with the script and admits what he has been avoiding for years. It was the woke agenda that defeated them. 2 rewinds of the clip were required. The Democrats are being criticized by Joe Scarborough for being overly progressive. The same individual who analyzed every argument put forth by the far left for years, treating them
that we have ever sat down with dinner with over the past 5 years who have kids that go to colleges say their kids are afraid to speak in class because they'll be canceled. It's having an impact from, again, the trans ad to, the athletics. And by the way, as we've said on the show 1,000 times, Democrats should be smarter on the women's athletics thing. 85% of Americans oppose men transitioning after puberty, competing against women. People need to look back at the campaign, and they certainly should feel free to call out Donald Trump for all the things that he said that were shocking and deeply offensive. But if you're a Democrat right now and think that's going to get you elected 4 years from now, it didn't get you elected a couple of nights ago. There was some reluctance to go there, to talk about the things that were concerning Americans that really mattered this year. Illegal immigration, the mass border crossings. This isn't just about tax cuts. This isn't just about economics. This is about cultural markers that matter greatly in these people's lives.
As though they were the 10 Commandments. Incredibly so. If you really thought these policies were a train wreck, where was that intensity before the catastrophe? Indeed, precisely. Ultimately, it is far safer to play the intelligent man. Scarborough in its traditional sense. Modify the past. Steer clear of accountability. Now let's pass it along to Anna Kasparian, who has some ideas on Joe's sudden awakening. Yes, I do remember it clearly. Joe, good morning. In full meltdown mode, accusing reporters of lying rather than expressing the truth and having the guts to say what was obvious. Kamala Harris's campaign was a complete failure. From the muddled sound bites to the constant flip-flopping, it was a political disaster. What was Joe doing? He attacked everyone who dared to criticize the media as part of his offensive. If you questioned Kamala, you were the problem. He did more than just defend her. He tried to silence the doubters. However, he suddenly nods as though he's always been the more rational one. He seems to have seen the warning flags immediately. Please, this is more than just hypocrisy. It's Olympic-level spin. Joe doesn't change his mind easily. He pirouettes wherever there is the most applause.
At the end of the day, neither party really matters. What matters is informing the American voters, ensuring that they have the accurate information necessary to make the right decision for themselves. But that's not what Joe Scarborough believes the role of journalism is in America. In his eyes, and he's not the only one, as the election is ongoing, well, you shut your mouth about the criticism and you be a good cheerleader for the Democratic Party.
Joe and his supporters don't get it. The idea here is not to flip a blindly Republican or Democratic flag. It's about what actually improves the lives of average Americans. All the parties are our tools. What matters are the practices and policies that benefit this country. But for Joe and MSNBC, loyalty to the Democratic Party is the most crucial element. No room for nuance. Never question the status quo. And that's a terrible way of thinking. It inhibits development and stifles sincere discussion. There is no fan club in the United States. It's a nation of thinkers. We need leaders who will stand up for what is truly right, transcend party lines, and question their own convictions.
Shut your mouth about the criticism and you be a good cheerleader for the Democratic Party. Otherwise, we don't want to see anything from you. That's what he was saying before the election, and now after the election, the Monday morning quarterbacking, right? All of a sudden, he's an expert on all the things that have gone wrong in Kamala Harris's campaign. Oh, all of a sudden, inflation is an issue. Who knew? Who knew that inflation? How are these people still employed? How do people tune into this show in the morning, every morning, to get their information? They have participated in the cover-up of Joe Biden's mental decline, which obviously put the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris at a massive disadvantage, considering the fact that Biden didn't drop out until July. After that, by Morning Joe, Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough, after that disastrous debate performance from Joe Biden, continued trying to gaslight the American public about his mental decline. These people are not to be trusted.
Trust MSNBC, Joe Scarborough, and Mika Brzezinski at your own risk. They will defend the Democratic Party no matter what happens. But they will discredit the GOP on every issue, no matter how small. This is not what journalism is. It's a performance. They are not holding power accountable. They are protecting their side at any costs. Honesty has no place here. The facts are distorted by a political filter. Moreover, any effort to achieve equilibrium is only symbolic. 1 minute it's all about unification, and the next it's about demonizing the country. You should think twice if you think Joe and Ma are giving you objective news. In disguise as journalism, it is a well-written work of fiction.
Cookies for Joe Scarborough because all of a sudden he's willing to acknowledge all of the different things that Kamala Harris's campaign got wrong. You should have done that before the election. You know, that type of pressure might have convinced her and her team to recalibrate. I get that the Democratic politicians don't want that. I get that they want us to pat them on the butt and tell them they're doing a good job. But that's a short-sighted thing to do because they're not going to have the ability to recalibrate if everyone around them is nodding their heads and saying, yeah, you're doing great.
The acts of Joe Scarborough and his squad truly put them in danger at this point. They are not saving the Democratic Party. They're dragging it down. In their desperate attempt to conceal every flaw and every mistake, they are creating the impression that the party is always moral. And it's a lie. This isn't helping the Democrats. It is gradually undermining their credibility. When you blame everything, silence any criticism, and enforce blind loyalty, you eventually start to create an echo chamber that is completely out of touch with reality, and voters start to notice. They see the arrogance, the inconsistencies, and the resistance to change course. People will no longer support a party that suppresses dissent and prioritizes spin above the facts. The amount of time you can gaslight the public before they leave is limited. Joe and his crew are destroying the party from within, even though they think they are helping. Today's video is now finished. If you liked what you saw, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more posts like this. Thank you for viewing, and I hope to see you again soon.